This is the all-new Audi Q8, the latest SUV/coupe style thing to hit the market. And much like the BMW X6 before it, aims to combine the practicality of a large SUV with the sportier look of a sloping roofline and less boxy shape than its purely SUV counterpart, which in this case would be the Audi Q7. And it manages to do this in a much less awkward way than the BMW X6 and is, in my opinion, a very good looking, very striking machine. You've got some nice nods to its Quattro heritage with these blistered wheel arches and this light bar across the back. That also does a little dance when you lock it up. Vital stuff. Then when you open the doors, the windows are frameless, which is a very nice touch and very unusual in an SUV, if that's what you'd call it. Then back around the front, there's no mistaking this new massive 8-sided grille, which sort of gives it the appearance of a massive gaping mouth. However, as beautiful as all of this might be, there's no escaping the fact that despite being more expensive than the Q7, it is still a bit less practical, and we're going to have a look at how and why that is now. For starters, there's no 7-seat option, so it's strictly a 5-seater, and despite how pretty this sloping roofline is, it does eat into the boot space. In fact, at 605 litres, you'll actually get more space in a Volkswagen Tiguan. However, it does at least beat the BMW X6's 580 litres. Practicality-wise, it is still pretty good. You've got a nice flat loading area, and with those back seats down, you'll easily get a couple of bikes or golf clubs or whatever it is that you need to carry around with you in there. My one last gripe about back here is that there's no lever to do that from here. Instead, you have to walk all the way around and do it from back here. Now, I know that might sound a little bit demanding, but I think with a price tag starting at €100,000, I'm allowed to be. Okay, so the trade-off for not having a second row is an extremely spacious back row. Legroom is limousine-like, and if you think I'm going to have another go at that sloping roofline, then you're wrong, because I actually don't find it affects headroom all that much. Maybe if you're a professional basketball player, but for the vast majority of people, I don't think they're going to have any reason to complain here whatsoever. This one has optional 4-zone climate control, and despite a bit of a hump in the floor, the middle seat passenger doesn't actually come off too badly for a change. Oh, and I almost forgot to check if this one has cup holders, and it does. They're just a little bit on the snug side. The front of the cabin is as magnificent as you might expect. It's extremely comfortable and beautifully finished. It's got the same dual touchscreen setup as we've seen already in the A6, A7 and A8, and while it's very difficult not to be impressed by, it does seem to have been a bit divisive amongst our viewers. The main argument being that surely it's too tricky to operate on the move. I personally don't find it that bad because it's got haptic feedback. You do actually have to press the screen much like a button. You can also turn it off altogether while you're driving if you do find it in any ways distracting, and use the virtual cockpit instead, which you can operate via these steering wheel mounted controls. You can also have these HVAC controls permanently on display, so at least you never have to go looking for them. Some people are going to love this setup, others will still much prefer an old-fashioned dial or button, and those people would probably be better off considering the BMW X6 or Mercedes-Benz GLA Coupe. There's only one trim level to choose from. Thank you very much, Audi, for making my job that little bit easier today, and it's this S-Line. And it comes equipped with pretty much everything you'll ever need or want. It's got 21-inch wheels, this whole setup here, including sat-nav and a reversing camera, heated leather seats, wireless phone charging, and I'm delighted to report that the virtual cockpit is standard fit this time. Things that you'll have to cough up extra for include that 4-zone climate control in the back, ambient lighting, a Bang & Olufsen sound system, a sunroof. This car has been absolutely packed with extras to the tune of €25,000, or the price of a nice little family hatchback. One standout option for me has to be the 360-degree around view camera, which does make life that bit easier in the car park because this is a very large vehicle and you want to protect those lovely 21-inch rims at all costs. There's also only one engine to choose from, thanks again Audi, and it's this 3-litre 286 brake horsepower V6 TDI with Quattro 4-wheel drive and mated to an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic gearbox. Under the new naming strategy, it's known as the 50 TDI, and it comes with the same mild hybrid technology that they've put in their other more recent models, which is basically a small battery pack used to store and aid fuel efficiency in certain driving situations, like when you're coasting along on the motorway, which, to be fair, a big diesel like this is probably already at its most efficient at. The official claimed fuel economy for this model is 6.8 litres per 100 kilometres, and it's also got a nice €750 motor tax bill, which I won't lament about too much because at this end of the market, running costs are, let's face it, probably just a minor detail, and on the grand scheme of things, a very small part of the overall cost of ownership. As for what it's like to drive, I would say more or less exactly what you expect it to be. It's a big old powerful unit with lots of low down torquey pulling power and a really good go anywhere feel from that excellent Quattro 4-wheel drive system, which, as you can see from conditions this week, has come in very handy. It's a very, very capable car. They all get air suspension as standard, so it's also very, very comfortable and refined in here. It's a nice quiet cabin with a nice steady power uptake from that Tiptronic gearbox. Except it still does have that annoying hesitation on startup, which it seems to be a common theme across all Volkswagen Group automatics. It's like it takes a second to realise that you want to go now. Luckily enough, it does have a drive mode selector, which seems to liven up that throttle response a bit. If you put it into dynamic mode, it will also lower the suspension for flasher cornering. And this one has also been fitted with the optional 4-wheel steering. So what that means is that the back wheels will turn in the same direction as the front wheels when you're going fast to increase your feeling of control, and in the opposite direction for around towns and cities to increase your feeling of manoeuvrability. And that is the Audi Q8, yours from a cool €103,500, or with the options on this one, a steal at €127,000. It's quite a lot of money by anyone's standards, and while there's no doubt it is quite a lot of car too, there are more practical options out there for a fraction of the cost. The Volkswagen Touareg, for example, is very similar underneath, except much more practical and with an interior that's just as impressive. There's also the small matter of its fully electric e-tron sibling, which is out this year. And despite a fully electric range of 400 kilometres, it actually works out considerably cheaper once government grants are taken into account. So is right now the right time to be considering a 3-litre diesel at all? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Like and share if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and join me here next week, where I'll be reviewing one of the much anticipated new Toyota hybrids. See you then.